Greetings YouTube, and welcome to my latest weapons build. So we have a Bomba Nias, I don't know how to say that properly, paddle from Brazil. I guess it's a big game down there. And this is, I found it interesting because it's larger than a lot of the paddles that I've seen, and even some of the ones I've used. It's made out of one piece of wood. It has a distal taper, so this end is about 2/3 the thickness of the handle. And this is going to be a fairly simple build because I'm going to take this and I'm going to mount this on it. I'm going to put the sprocket on the other side because I like to kind of preserve this. I mean, I'll be punching a couple of holes in it, but I would like to preserve this look. So I'm going to put a block under this in the hopes that when I drill through, I won't split it. And I want to split this. I want to get it in as clean a hole as possible, and I'll be using a proper wood bit for that. I have a really nice 1/4 inch bit designed for wood, and I like that one. And this, oh, I picked this up at Goodwill for $1.50. I got 2 of them for $3. And this sprocket, I think it's from a bike. I'm not 100% sure. To me, it looks like it might be a smidge robust for a bike, but it's possible it's for a bicycle. I'm not positive. It could just be a chain drive wheel from another device. There was no label on this thing. In fact, I had to go and talk to the person working at the antique shop that I found it in, and the guy who was selling them had 2 of them. And she took them up to the desk, and she gave the guy a call because apparently the entire room that I was in of the antique shop was that one dealer. He had a lot of stuff in there. He had some cool things, and he didn't have a price on it, so she gave him a call, and I putzed around the place for about 10 minutes and lucked into a nice hat for a friend of mine for Christmas, and a Scottish mohair hat. It looks lovely on her. And the guy said he'll take $10 for both of them. So I paid $5 for this thing, and I'm not going to modify this at all. I'm just going to bolt it to the paddle with 2 1/4 20 screws, and that should be quite sufficient to hold it in place. And I'm going to put this on the upside just because it's a little bit more visually interesting, this groove. So I don't know if this groove was there intentionally or that groove is a wear groove. Because it's very shiny and the rest of this has a different appearance except for the active points. So this is where it was engaging. I'm thinking that's a wear groove, but I'll never know because I don't know what this is from. Again, there was no label on it. There's a lot of times when you go to antique shops and stuff, the labels will tell you what something is, and sometimes they'll just like say machine part or, you know, tool, because they don't know what it is. And a few times I've known what something is and purchased it because they didn't and gotten a really good deal. But I think $5 for something like this is a good deal. I am very happy with it. I don't know, is this thing steel or aluminum? This is aluminum. Alrighty, that's aluminum, which is fine. Aluminum's cool. So I'm going to lay out a line down the center on the back and mark 2 holes, and then I'm going to drill them. And then so very shortly I'll have these 2 things done, and I'll make sure that they're this spacing. I'm not going to measure it. I'm just going to put the line on there, put this on there, and then mark the center with a punch. Just because I have the punches here, then the center punches will give me a nice hole right in the middle. Alrighty, also, it's time to change batteries. Okay, so next thing up, I will have a marked paddle. So here we have the 2 holes marked, and I used these center punches, specifically this one right here. I don't even know what that size is. I don't think I can read the numbers anymore. They're kind of beaten up. I bought these used at like an estate sale for a song. I can't remember how little it was, but it was. I think it's missing like one. It's missing this big one right here. I paid like, I don't know, $2 for this thing, and they've been so useful to me, both in steel and in wood, because I can just pass them right through that kind of a hole and then drop, and it'll put a hole right in the middle of that, which is just awesome. And I've brightened these up with some red so you can see them. That's the line I did, and I'm probably going to put a hole here so I can put a lanyard on this thing. It'll make it easier to store it. So technically, I think I could probably hang it from one of the holes when I'm done. Yeah, I might, but I'll probably put that lanyard on there anyway because it'll be also useful for a person who is using the weapon in question if they want to keep it from falling out of their hands. So now it's just going to be 2 holes here. I've got a block on my drill press. I have to dig up the drill bit. I haven't done that yet. And then it's come time to find some bolts and some, no, I got the nuts, but the bolts are going to come out of that container right there, and that's just a container of quarter 20 bolts that I picked up at an estate sale and has been so darn valuable. That thing was almost full when I started, and it's less than half full now. I've used so many bolts out of this thing over the years. I will miss this thing so much when it's finally gone, because I'm never going to get quarter 20 bolts that cheap, even if they are, you know, slot heads. I don't care. They've been so great for projects, and they have a nice patina, which often looks good on what I'm doing, because I am doing the whole post-apocalyptic vibe. I will not need a washer on this side, and I'm going to make this the bolts, the nut side, because I want to keep it as clean as I can on the other side. So I'll probably put a couple of washers on the other side under the slotted head, and then just put the nuts on this side with the actual sprocket itself. Alrighty, so now it's time for 3 holes. Using the sacrificial block I spoke about, it's a beautiful job. Nice, clean holes. That one isn't perfectly in center, but I don't really care. These came out nice, and just as a happenstance, they landed nowhere near any of the stuff on here. So the words are still clear, and the faux landscape here is clear as well. Nice and clean. And I'm going to use these two along with some quarter 20 nuts, and I discovered that I really don't need washers on this. These just peek out, and once I tighten this thing down, and I'm going to actually tighten it enough so I pull those heads slightly into the wood. This isn't a particularly hard wood, so that shouldn't be difficult. And that will put the nuts almost flush with the ends of these bolts when I'm finished. So it's going to give it a nice clean look, and I won't have to cut anything down, which I really don't feel like using anything metal cutting today. I'm just not in the mood for it. I'm on vacation, just don't feel like cutting metal today. So we're going to just assemble this thing, put a lanyard on it, and this project will be finished. Remember how I mentioned this has a distal taper? I forgot to figure that into the equation. So this bolt is perfectly flush and this one is not, because I had to use a longer bolt, and frankly I don't want to grind it down. So it sits a little bit proud. I may clean that up at a later date. I may not. I'm not going to worry about it at this very minute. And that's just the quarter 20. That's just the quarter inch, not the quarter inch. The 7/16 wrench I used to tighten the quarter 20 nuts onto this, and the other side looks just fine. I like the way that looks. I could tweak that so they were in vertical or something. I'm not that picky. And there is the lanyard I mentioned. With a half twist, it is very firm on the wrist. It's very comfortable. So this is completed, and this is another example of a low skill build. People out there who don't have a lot of tools, you could do this with a hand drill. They make hand drills. I have a number of them in my collection. In fact, I even use one of them on a regular basis when I'm drilling a small hole and I don't want to break out my my power drill. I just grab the hand drill and you can punch a hole through something real quick like. So it is just holes in a paddle and a sprocket. Obviously, you may not be able to get exactly the things I have here, but paddles of this rough size are available at thrift shops on a regular basis. I see them all the darn time. I picked these up because they were a little unusual, as they were had a distal taper, which I kind of like, and I'm going to use the second one for another project, though I'm going to modify that one significantly more than I did this one. All I did in this one was drill some holes. But this is a nice weight, and I hung this wheel, I hung this sprocket on a line and then hit it with a metal a tool. It has a really nice ring to it. It has no bearing on the topic at all, but it does have a nice chime sound. You could make an interesting. I could make an interesting set of chimes if I had a bunch of these. That'd be kind of cool. It's maybe for a future project when I make a huge ass wind chime. But yeah, this has got a really nice feel to it. It is definitely got a swing in this thing. Hitting something with this is going to land like a truck. And you've got spikes everywhere. So if you have to, you can thrust with it. Obviously, they're not going to be able to do as much as, say, as a spear point. But if you hit somebody anywhere in their neck or face with this, they're going to feel it. They're definitely going to be unhappy if you do that, which is going to set them up for a follow-up strike from either direction, either a forward or a backhand swing, and you're going to be able to hit it. It's not quite truly omnidirectional, but it has got a lot of swing and thrust options on this, and I didn't do anything to this. You could, of course, grind this thing to make better points, but I don't really see the the need for that. This is going to do a lot of damage. It actually doesn't take that much effort to get through human skin, and this is going to even harm someone through a leather jacket. This will definitely, they're going to definitely feel that. You're going to be able to break ribs and things like that without too much difficulty. And unless they're wearing a really good helmet, this is going to do some damage. Even if you hit somebody in a motorcycle helmet with this, it's going to bite, it's going to knock them to the side. And once you get them off kilter, off balance, well, things get a lot easier for the person swinging it. So yeah, so this has been, I haven't figured out what I should call this thing. Is it a mace or a war club? This has a vaguely Polynesian vibe, just the paddle itself, but it's way too soft for that. But I don't know what to call this thing. Is it, again, is it a war club, or is it a mace? I don't know. I'll have to think about that one. Maybe I'll throw this up on my Instagram and see if anybody has an idea of what they would call it. Because at the moment, I don't have a true idea. Alrighty, so this is going to go outside for some stills for this video, as well as my Instagram and my DeviantArt. So if you don't follow me on Instagram and DeviantArt, you should. DeviantArt is where I keep the permanent storage for all my stills, and Instagram is where I put down bargains I find and weird stuff I see at thrift shops that I don't buy, and of course cat pictures. And at the time of this recording, we just got a new kitten 2 weeks ago. His full name, according to my wife, is Dwight Henry Bones. So he is adorable gray male kitten. So kitten pictures are always cool. Alrighty, thank you for being here for this video. I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I hope that you'll come back for the next one.